instant classic right here. This was fight of the night, in my opinion. I haven't looked at what the performance awards are, but this could be a fight of the year contender as well. Brandon Moreno, Alexandre Pantoja, they were bloodied. It was a war. They gave it everything they got. And then at this point, you really just got to think about, like, what exactly does Moreno need to do to get a win against Pantoja? Like, 3 times you couldn't get it. From here, what could he have done different to actually solidify a win versus a close split decision loss?
I think it's rough, Derek, because that last fourth round and fifth round, it was really the control that took over. One of the big debates at the table was Pantoja, with all the control he had, did zero damage. There's nothing real damage going on. But to that same argument, neither did Moreno because he was being controlled. So there's no damage going on. So I think if Moreno really needed to get it back, because with each fight he's grown in leaps and bounds to get better. Started off with the finish, or started off getting finished, then going to a decision, unanimous. Now it's a split. You're right there. If Moreno, and it's almost like a catch-22, Derek, because if Moreno could have put himself in just a little bit more danger, willing to kind of, I don't know, like I said, put yourself in the position that's going to kind of excite Pantoja to allow him to overextend or something like that. As dangerous that is, it seems that's the only shot, because Pantoja, this dude's a dog. And for all the times that Moreno cracked him heavy, he was still standing there. Yeah, he was wobbled a couple times. There were moments, man. This was such a close fight, Derek. Back and forth, washing machine style fight. This could have been, and if not fight of the night, this definitely could have been. But for Moreno to put himself in those kind of situations, is it worth it? Because you're already losing anyway. But, is it worth it to go out on your shield like that? Or, because there is a world where Moreno actually won that fight, and that's why it was a split decision. I didn't think so. I thought the right man won. But there is a world where the judges give that fight to Moreno. Do you see another option, and do you agree with that last statement of there's a world where Moreno won this fight?
No, I don't, man. I think the right guy won. I think Pantoja did exactly what he needed to do to win. I think this is what it comes down to. There is some psychology that plays into it, especially when you've been finished by your opponent before, especially when you got to those positions where he has your back, rear naked choke, where you pull the Dustin Poirier approach, right? So remember Dustin Poirier, I think it was against Khabib, but he was all like, I'm just going to let you ride out the round, bro, because if I make a bad move, I'm going to get finished here. And it's better to lose a round than it is to get finished. However, those moments came in like round 4 and 5. So it's like there's no time. You can't just lose the round. You can't just hope and pray you'll get the win. You have to do something. So when it's equal in damage and then Pantoja controls you for 3 minutes, you got to give it to Pantoja, right? I think the biggest concern for me is that Brandon Moreno felt the power of Pantoja, obviously, in those exchanges, and I think that's why he didn't want to go in there towards the latter end of the fight and just put it all on the line, because if he gets starched, then it's all over. And Pantoja, for whatever reason, dude is like a Terminator, bro. I know he's the cannibal, but like he got hit with everything and the kitchen sink and just kept going, looked tired as ever. They were calling him tired at round 2, bro. Looked exhausted the entire fight and still did exactly what you mentioned, AJ. Brought the dog out, said there is a will to win that has not been extinguished here. And he got it done, bro. I mean, there couldn't have been a more impressive way to win this fight, unless he just steamrolled him, correct?
Correct, but almost, Derek, this was more impressive because he had to pull out the dog, because he had to dig deep to really go in and get this win and do the things necessary to solidify the win. And man, that's why I was in awe of this fight. This was one of those ones, yeah, I scored it, but I was also just happy to sit back, watch, not say a word, and just be in awe of two dudes giving their full effort in this at all, man. So nothing against Moreno. Great fight for both of them. Super close as well, man.
And I think that this actually is the best thing for Pantoja going into his first title defense, because at this point, no matter if they give him Moreno or they give him somebody else, you're not going to question anymore, oh, Pantoja, he's not a 5-round guy. He's not made for championship fights. We just saw this dude will drag you into deep waters for all 5 rounds. Is that sustainable over the course of your career, though? I'm not sure how sustainable fights like this are, right? You don't want to get in this type of just straight up brawl every time, but Pantoja excels in brawls. We have a new king of the flyweight division, and before we leave off on this one, AJ, I just want to know, how do you feel that Pantoja said something pretty meaningful at the end of the fight? And he did a little shout out, said, hey, Dad, you proud of me now, right? This is a grown man with a family. I think he got kids and everything, right? To have that level of introspection on the grandest stage in front of everybody right here, you'd imagine that this title is not going to be leaving this man's hands for quite some time when you have that level of emotion attached to it to a degree. Would you agree with that, or is that far-fetched?
No, Derek, I would 100% agree with that. You can see it meant something to him more than just goals that he's been, aiming towards. This was family, this was friends, this was love, this was a lot of things that go into it. And I at first, when I saw the post fight, he was talking about dad and all that stuff. Then this morning, I was going through Twitter scrolling, and I see a video of Triple C giving him pre-fight, giving him a card talking about, for a guy that grew up, lost your father, all this stuff, you were an amazing father, going to be soon champ. So you can tell not only did this mean so much to him and his family, but also everybody around that area, everybody around that had some sort of emotional connection to Pantoja knew how much this meant to him. And even though we might see some shuffle up, I think Pantoja is going to do everything in his power, regardless, to stay champ and do that because it means so much to him.
Alexandre Pantoja, and you got a new face in this division. We got a new king on the throne. Should be interesting to see what plays out after this.